Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, so let's see if we can actually get our kitchen day that we planned. So yesterday was a bit of a write-off. I put the bread on, forgot about it, overproofed it, then it cooked, and it was fine. We ate it. It was perfectly edible. And then I did the pizza dough, and then I didn't even take a photo of the cooked pizza. It was a write-off day. So let's start again. It is already 8:45, mind you. I have a couple of things going on the 3D printers. And I did some admin and postage stuff this morning. But the kids have requested pancake bake, so that's what we're going to start off with for the morning. So this is my standard pancake bake, and it is one that I really badly need to get up on the website. I have even taken photos of this one and still haven't got it there. But we got the pool filter yesterday, so you probably, I don't know if you'll hear it running in the background, but if you hear some water noise in the background, that's what that is for the day. And we're going to try and get some stuff done. I'm gonna do it. We'll see. Okay, so pancake bake first. I've just put the oven on to preheat, and now we're going to weigh in some ingredients. So I've got my Thermomix bowl on. I'm going to put my scales on. Let's bring you a little bit closer. The bowl for the 7 is dirty, so we're using the 6, which is why I still have both of them going. I have 3 bowls for my 6 and only 1 for my 7, and it's a really big thing for me because not having clean bowls is an issue. So until I can replace and have multiple bowls for my 7, then the 6 and the 7 will have to run simultaneously. I don't know if I've mentioned either. I should mention that there is a trade-up offer on the 7s at the moment. So if you have a 6, a 5, or a 31, you can currently trade up to get a 7. It is $750 trade-in for the 6, $450 for the 5, and $250 for the 31, I think, against a new 7. So that's pretty cool. I am a lot happier with the 7 than I thought I would be. I thought it was a bit of a gimmick and that sort of thing. It does look nicer on my bench. The black, even though when the screen is off, it looks really dirty, the screen. It's easier to clean, but cleaning that top section is super simple. This white always looks a bit gungy, but anyway, if you're interested, reach out and I can help you with that. So we're going to start off here. We're going to put 400 grams of yogurt, whichever yogurt you want to use. My homemade yogurt was really nice and thick this batch, and I might actually scrape a little bit more of this into a bowl to eat and then make a fresh batch of yogurt with the leftovers. We're going to add a jar of pureed fruit. So any sort of fruit that you want to use, but we have these jars of, it's just pureed berries and stuff in here. Nothing added, a teaspoon of sugar to help maintain colour, but other than that, it's just pureed berries and canned, and these are 300 gram jars. So 300 grams of pureed fruit. We're going to add a couple of scoops of protein powder. I am using the Macro Marks because that is what I use. Anyone who's been around for a while knows that it is my preferred flavour profile of protein powders, but I cannot provide you with an affiliate code or anything because they didn't want to give me one. So this happens to be the cinnamon churros flavour. And then we're going to add some baking powder, which we want about 30 grams of. We're going to do a generous amount of baking powder. And then we want to add a pinch of salt. And we're going to add 6 eggs, and that's it. Super simple. Let me grab the eggs. Now we have a lot of turkey eggs at the moment, and I find that these are about 1.5 eggs each. So I'm going to use these as 3 eggs and then 3 chicken eggs as well. Because we are not letting the turkeys have another breed, because we have 23 turkeys at the moment. Anyone who wants some turkeys they'll be right around culling age for Christmas. So if anyone local knows anyone who wants a turkey or 2, let me know. So because we aren't letting them hatch any more babies, they are laying in the pen and we just collect them each day. So we got 3 chicken eggs and 2 turkey eggs, and that should be the equivalent of about 6 eggs. And then we're just going to blend it. Oh, hang on. I forgot flour. Got carried away. We want 350 grams of plain flour. About 30 seconds, speed 5. We'll scrape it down and give it another whiz if it needs it, just in case there's some lumps. and it just looks like pancake batter. Alright, and then they like chocolate chips sprinkled on top, so we're just going to the end of a packet here, so we may as well use these rather than sticking them back in the freezer. Just like that, and then we can throw it in the oven and I'll bring you back when it's done. Pancake bake, sorted. All I do is I slice it up and they go and serve it however they want. Fluffy, high pancake with a bit of extra protein, easy bake. And that one's all done. Next thing I'm going to do is work on the mangoes. So I'm going to go super simple, cut the cheeks off, and then I get the cheeks out of the mango by just using the side of a jar or a cup. Slide it like that. We've got empty skin and we've got whole mango cheek. So I'm just going to go through and do them all like this, and then I will do stuff. I will freeze the flesh, and we will turn the nice clean skinned, clean pipped ones into a strawberry mango cordial or syrup or whatever. That is the plan anyway. So first we just get as much flesh as we can off them, and then sometimes the kids take the pips to suck on as well, depending on whether I want to use them or not, and they will clean them all up. But in the meantime I will just use this and grab the whole cheeks off like that and get all of them into a bowl to begin with. So they've eaten a fair few of them. There's only half this box left and half of the other box as well, realistically, because they've eaten they've eaten the more ripe ones of each box. Right, so we've got a big bowl of cheeks and stuff here that I'm going to spread out on trays to freeze. I got a big bowl here of clean pips, clean skins and that sort of thing, and a bowl of marked extra green or with bruising or whatever that we'll use for the animals. So I've got baking trays that I will line with baking paper, and get this out of the way for a second like this, and I'm just going to place cheeks on, and we will freeze these, flash freeze them, and then throw them in Ziploc bags for easy storage. These little offcuts from the pips as well. Yes, it's for smoothies and stuff, and smoothie pops, which we need to make more of. We do need to do more smoothie pops. So, but mango ice cream is the other thing that we can make too. So actually, I might grab a couple of creamy pints and put some fresh mango in there.
We have 2 trays.
Alright, so they've got 2 lots of smoothie pops left, so we can always do some more of those, but Lorcan's going to put that in the freezer for me. And then we'll do another full tray. Alright, so we're getting some Ninja Creamy tubs together. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to throw all these peels and good quality skins into a big pot, and then we're going to grab the bags of strawberry tops out of the freezer as well to add to these. Alright, so when I was cleaning out the freezer before the last shop, I realised that I had a couple of bags of these strawberries from last lot of strawberries as well. So we have plenty. And I'm going to make a big batch up of this strawberry mango cordial type thing. Again, I'm thinking of, if I manage to get myself one of the slushy machines, that if I make this nice and condensed, then we'll be able to use it in that. So we have heaps here of any sort of tops of strawberries, and this is why I don't have a problem with them cutting the tops off when they're freezing the rest of them, because I hold on to them for these. So there's some that were obviously just an old punnet. There was just half a dozen strawberries left in it, and they were starting to go a bit yuck for fresh eating. So long as there's no mold, then I tell them just throw them, if they're a bit bruised, just throw them in the freezer and we will use them for something like this. So we have this huge pot now. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, say, 2 litres of water in here, and I will put a lid on it and I'll turn it on to a simmer so that everything defrosts and it lets out its own juices, and then I'll reassess the liquid quantity. Generally speaking, this is a bit of a 2-day process. I will simmer it with all this fruit in it, and then I will put a lid on it and I'll put it somewhere cool overnight to steep. And then the next day I will strain it, add some lemon juice, add some sugar, add some citric acid. I'll need that again, mate. And all that sort of stuff, and then get it turned into a syrup and then canned. So for today I'm going to put a couple of litres of water in here, put it on to simmer, and we will just see where the liquid ends up once all this defrosts. Alright, so that's on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the vanilla custard for the mangoes. I'm not going to macerate the mangoes or anything like that. I'm just going to stick this in the fridge. We'll make the vanilla custard and we'll blend it through. That should be perfectly fine. So I'm going to get Lorcan to find a lid for this one and put it in the fridge for me. And we'll put those mangoes in the fridge for the moment. I'll get a custard cooking, the same one as I did last on the Ninja Creamy video. And then we've got to deal with some bananas. So we had a bit of an incident. I bought 2 boxes of bananas and I wasn't aware that the kids hadn't opened the second box, and the boxes, in the inside of the boxes, they're wrapped in plastic. So in this heat, the plastic is sweated and the ends of the bananas have all gone yuck. So we're going to have to cut the ends of the bananas off. The pigs will enjoy those, and freeze whatever we can salvage from it. It'll be funny texture, but it doesn't matter if it's being frozen. I hadn't realised the kids hadn't opened that second box and unwrapped the plastic. So that's life, and we'll sort that out. So we've got to do that next, because otherwise they're just going to get worse and worse and worse. So I'm going to put the custard on to cook, and then I will start on the bananas with Sonnet's help. So I didn't write down the ratios that I used on this batch of that vanilla custard that I did in the Ninja Creamy, and I really I don't have the time to go and listen to myself. I hate doing that at the best of times. So I'm going to guess and it'll be fine. So I remember that I ended up with 2 tins of coconut cream, and I filled them both with water as well, which gives me the 1.6 litres of cream / milk. So we've got those 2, and that's just water from the Berkeys. Then it was 8 egg yolks, but we used some turkey eggs as well as part of the yolks, so we've got 8. So let me just get this tidied up. Alright, sugar wise, we're going to use about 300 grams of sugar. I haven't sugared the mangoes, they're nice and sweet. We shouldn't need any more than that. Between the 4 things. As I said, every time, ice cream is once something's cold or frozen, you don't taste sweet the same way, and if you don't make it nice and sweet, it's just not going to be sweet once it's frozen. So you have to overdo it a little bit to make it work. It's just the way it is, and it's a treat. The 5 kids share one of these tubs of ice cream between all of them. It's really not that big a deal. So we've just got 2 spoonfuls of vanilla in there as well, like that. The kids are in the pool, so this time of year this becomes an issue. The dogs go off because the kids are in the pool and they just want to be in there with them. We're going to do 11 minutes at 90 degrees at speed 3. It took a little bit longer than the 9 minutes on the last one with the extra volume. So we're going to do 11 minutes and that should be enough, and it'll make a thin custard that we'll use for the base of the ice cream. So that is going, and now we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, so we salvaged as many bananas as we could. They're in halves on baking trays in the freezer now. And I ended up adding 4 litres of water to this pot. And now, as you can see, everything has started to dissolve and soften. So we're just going to keep on letting it simmer at this really low heat for a while longer. And then we will let it steep overnight as well, and then we'll strain it. So nice big pot of strawberry mango liquid, and then eventually we will sugar it and stuff. So we're just going to let this keep on going. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to pour a little bit of the custard into the containers, and then I'll puree the mango so that I've got enough room and it's all spread out evenly. So just going to do that. Now I'll grab the mango out of the fridge. Alright, so we've got the rest of the custard in here. I'm going to add 500 grams of mango, because that's actually, it ended up being about 1 kilo of the strawberries, didn't it? So I'm going to leave a little bit behind because I'm going to make a small batch of, that should be fine. Should be able to put 1 kilo in there, and then a small batch that I'm going to use to make just some non-custard based quick creamy and a couple for myself. So we're just going to blend this up, and then we're going to, definitely could have gone a little bit smoother, but as Ninja Creamy will catch the lumps anyway. There we go. So Apollo's going to find me lids for these ones. And I didn't have the camera angled quite right, but so that's 4 mango vanilla ice creams to go in the freezer for the kids. They've already eaten a couple of the strawberry ones, but I think they've got a couple of strawberry ones left. But basically the same thing, vanilla custard based ice cream with that fresh mango through it. It should be very tasty. And I'm just going to go super simple with the stuff that's left. I've got some cream here. This was frozen, so it's got a weird texture to it, which is fine. We use it in our coffee regardless, but it works for cooked stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I think I'll do 2 pints. We're using some of this here. So normally I only put 100 grams of cream per one. So if we put 200 grams, and I'm just going to put it in the Thermomix that had the previous one in there, because it's not a big deal. So we got a little bit more than we needed, but 200 odd grams of cream in there. And then I'm going to top it up with some water, and about double that in water. So we're going to bring that up to the 600-ish gram mark. I'm going to add, say, 450 odd grams of mango. I will add a little bit of allulose so that Darryl can have this as well if that's what he wants. We'll add, it's about 40 grams, so 20 grams per batch. I will taste this afterwards. I'll add a little bit of vanilla, and I will get some sugar-free pudding. Spoonful of vanilla, and then we'll add 2 serves of the vanilla sugar-free pudding mix, so about 14 grams. And then I'm just going to blend it and fill the pints. And this will be a cream-based, cold, non-cooked one. And that's done. So then we're just going to put lids on these 2, and these 2 are going to go in the fridge. I'm going to label these ones as being mine, because normally there would be a fair bit less quantity in them and it'd be easy to tell apart, but this ended up being a bit fuller than I'd planned. But there we go. So 2 pudding-based mango ones as well to use up the last of that mango. Now all that mango has been sorted, so all of it is in the freezer. There is none to be wasted. All of those... Pardon?
Only the few that aren't ready are...
Yeah. There is a few that were green, so that which we can be kept out, and the kids can eat them fresh as they ripen. All the bananas are in the freezer too. I need to do something with lemons, is probably the next step. But for the moment, I'm just going to clean up and then I'll come back. All right, so this has come up to a solid simmer, and I don't want to simmer it for too long. So I'm going to turn this off and just leave it to sit for many hours. As I said, probably till tomorrow, when I will strain it, and then I will add what I need to add to the liquid to make it into a syrupy cordial. So I'm just going to turn the heat off on it, put the lid on it, put it aside, and we will deal with it tomorrow. All right, next couple of tasks. I've had a break, I've had some lunch. We're going to do some chili oil, but I also need to juice some of the lemons, and we're having trouble finding the juicer. So we're looking for that at the moment, but I'm going to put the 750 mils of peanut oil in here. I've been buying it in these bottles from Coles. It works quite well because I just do a whole batch. And we're going to bring this up to the 175-ish while we mix up everything else in a bowl that this will be poured over to make our chili oil. So 175-ish there. It's going to go on the stove and be turned on to warm up. So I've started trying to do it by weight as much as possible. So I've got 500 grams of crushed peanuts in here, and I had about 150 odd grams of sesame seeds left in my jar. So I've put that in there. I'm going to do about half a tablespoon of salt and similar of some bouillon mix. I'm then going to add some pepper, just probably a quarter of a tablespoon of pepper. And we're going to add some soy sauce. I'm going to use use a tablespoon of dark soy sauce and a tablespoon of light soy sauce and a half a tablespoon of black vinegar. Then I just need the chili flakes and a little bit of some garlic flakes. I'm just going to use pre-fried garlic flakes because the kids have a real tendency to not put this back in the fridge as much as I would like, and so I don't want to use fresh garlic in it because I don't want that risk. So I've got some fried garlic pieces here that we also sprinkle on top. I'm just going to put enough in here to add some flavour, about 50 grams. And then I've got the chili flakes, which I will add about 50 grams of as well. Maybe not 50. Maybe 25. Like a good ratio there for me. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up. Alright, so I'm just going to mix all those solids up. So we've got a lot of solids in here because that's how I like my oil. I like it to have heaps and heaps of crunch. So then we've got the hot oil, and it's going to make some noise.
Whoa.
And that's cooking off the garlic, the nuts, the sesame seeds, the chilies, and everything like that, toasting all of that off. So I brought that oil up to 175 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and then poured it in over all that stuff. So I've made this a few times. We make it every couple of weeks. It's something that we regularly use on ramen, but it's really nice drizzled over steak. It's really nice drizzled over eggs. It's nice in lots of things. And I like this ratio. I like it really, really chunky. So you get all that chili flavor, but you get all this texture too. Some people prefer more oil than all the solids. We prefer it with the solids. So I'm going to let that cool a bit, and then I will decant it into a couple of jars. And then we'll have that for noodles and whatever else we want it for. So I'm just going to put that aside. All right, then we have to move on to the lemons. So one of the things I'm going to do with the lemons is I'm going to make some candied slices, because I think that will be really nice over Christmas with some cocktails or mocktails. So I need to slice them up. I'm also going to make some limoncello. So I'm going to zest some really fine. We had to go hunting for the juicer, but Kavik found it for me, so that's cool. So we're going to bring that over. While the juice is getting cleaned, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some peel off the lemons, and what we want is we want the thinnest layer possible without any pith at all. So we're going to just do this. All right, so as I'm taking the zest off nice and neatly, Kavik is going to juice some of these for me. Right, my juicer has a little bit of a crack in the bottom, so I'm going to be vigilant about pouring the juice out so we don't end up leaking into the bottom of the unit. So I'm just going to make sure that we empty that regularly. You want to get rid of all the seeds.
What did I put in?
Just in a scrap bowl or something. And we can do that. The other thing we're going to do is the limoncello. So I'm going to just wash the jar, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to, what did we do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5, so we'll do about 9 lemons worth of zest to go in here. These ones are a nice size because they're so big. They're quick to juice. They're easy to zest. It's great. So with this lemon juice, I'm going to make some lemon curd. I'm going to freeze some and make some lemon curd, and then I want to do some cream cheese brioche rolls with the lemon curd, maybe some lemon curd tea cake at some point, we'll see. But so we've got 9 lemons worth of the pithless zest here that I'm going to cover in alcohol, and we're going to let that sit for a few weeks, which will be just in time for Christmas. So we can let that sit for a few weeks, then we'll make a sugar syrup and we will turn it into limoncello. So that one is sorted. Next thing I want to do is I want to do some candied slices. Some similar to how I do the lemon chung, but I'm going to cook them so that they get softened so you eat them whole. So I'm going to do these nice thin slices, and then I'm going to get Kavik to pick the seeds out, and then we're going to dissolve some sugar in water in a pot, and these will simmer for sort of a good 35-40 minutes. Yep. And then they will dry, and I will have edible candied lemon slices.
More spoon.
Yeah.
I keep the juicer.
Yeah. So get rid of these for the moment. Yeah.
Why am I pinky finger? Why am I?
And then we will cut probably 4 up, I might do, into these really nice thin slices. And then while Kavik is pulling the seeds out, I'll get the sugar and water. Just going to do a heavy syrup, 1 part sugar, 1 part water, in a nice wide bottom, heavy bottom pan, probably one of my enamel cast iron ones. And I'll get that going. Candied lemon slices. Well, they're edible, yeah. They can be had with soft drink and stuff, or just eaten.
I love them. Even though they sour. I like sour.
Alright, so Kavik is eating the lemons while he's doing it. I'm going to do probably 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of water, because I want to do a fair amount at one time just to make it worthwhile. The camera's being difficult. Don't know why, but anyway. So we've got 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of water. We're just going to let this dissolve, and then we're going to run it at a low simmer with all those lemon slices in it for a good 30-45 minutes, which will basically make the whole slices of lemon edible. So that's another thing done. I need to grab the vodka to put in the lemon zest, and we will juice some more probably, but we'll see. So all the sugar's dissolved, so now we're going to gently place the, how about the way please? Gently place the lemon slices in there, That one's still got seeds in it. This one got missed.
This one did not.
So that's about 4 lemons worth of slices in a 2-cup mix. Now this syrup that's left will be usable as well as like a lemon sweet syrup too, because it's going to have these cooking in them, so it won't go to waste. So I'm just going to let these simmer for a good half hour, 45 minutes, until it's all soft and edible, and then we will lay them out to dry. So that part is done. Alright, so the lemon slices are cooking in the lemon syrup and they will go for a while. We have still got more lemons to do. I've got the quart here of lemon juice, but we can do another quart of that. Some will freeze, some will make to lemon curd, as I said. But while I'm doing these, I may as well zest them as well and freeze the zest for use in whatever I want to use it for. Baking or in some chicken dishes. Sometimes some lemon zest is really nice. I do still have 2 or 3 jars of lemon chung on the shelf, so I don't need to make any lemon chung at the moment. I don't think I've got any preserved lemons though, so I could make a jar of preserved lemons. First up, we'll get some more of these done, this jar filled, maybe another jar, and then have a look at what I've got left, because it is nice to have preserved lemons. I really like putting preserved lemons in the cavity of whole chickens when you roast it, so that's always a good use for them. But they're nice throwing in some, I want to say Mediterranean, but don't quote me on that, dishes with the chicken in the tagine and stuff. I'm not sure if I'm thinking that's the right region for that, but that is the kind of dish you can do preserved lemons in with chicken dishes for cooking, long cooking and things like that. So they're always handy to have on hand and they're shelf stable. So right, so we've got 2 quarts of lemon juice there, so we can leave that at the moment. Now let's do a jar of preserved lemons. Nice clean skin lemons. I'm going to take the very tops and bottoms off them. Cut them so that they're in pieces, and we're going to throw that in the jar. Then we're going to throw some salt in top, down in amongst that. We're going to do the same again, and we're going to shove these in the jar as well. Wider jar is better for this actually. Just going to shove it down the sides. Sprinkle of salt. Similar sort of a thing here. We're just going to keep shoving pieces of lemon into the jar in sizes that you'll use is what I sort of look at as. Like some people do only whole ones, some people do halves, but for me I use wedges in things when I'm cooking, so wedges work really well for me. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to salt and squish these ones. The goal here is that the lemons create enough juice to cover themselves. I think I'm going to use a much wider jar than this, so I'm going to keep adding, but I might cut them into those wedges. Haven't made any for a while. There's something that I like to use, but I don't always use that often, so sometimes I make it and then it sits around for a long time, so it's not something that I have to make very often. But basically all we're doing is we're layering some salt with the lemons, and then we're tamping them down to make them release enough juice to create their own liquid. You can top them up with more lemon juice though if you need to, and we've got spare lemons, so that's not an issue. But these are some pretty juicy lemons, so I'd like to think that I could get enough. There we go, we're getting there with the... So we pretty much got enough liquid to cover all of those, just with their own uses. So there we go, that was nice and easy to do actually. So salted lemons in their own juice, and we will... Alright, so we're just going to put a lid on that one, and we're going to watch it for a little bit, and we'll let that settle, and then I'll have these to use in cooking. These, they are really like really bright flavour, so that's done there. Okay, next things that we need to do, let me have a think. All right, I've decided I'm going to make some lemon curd now. I've still got a fair few lemons left. I was looking at recipes for lemon curd ice cream, which sounds amazing. So if I make some lemon curd up, it can go in the fridge, and over the next few days I can do some lemon curd tea cake, which is one of my favorites. I can do some lemon curd brioche rolls that I was talking about, and I can make some lemon curd ice cream. All right, my battery is nearly out on my audio, but what I did was I found the lemon curd that I wanted on Cookie Dough while my Thermomix was updating, and I sent it. You can now send it to CM7, so I hit the button to send it, and it sent it to my screen. And we're going to just throw everything in and make it. Now, I haven't made lemon curd with butter in a really long time because I normally use coconut oil because the kids haven't been doing dairy. Now, this is majority for me anyway, but regardless, I'm going to make it with butter because I'd really like to try it with butter for, you know, it's been a long time. So we're going to throw all the ingredients in and basically hit thicken, and that's pretty much it. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but I'll just show it to you because people ask. All the ingredients are on the screen, so all we're going to do is we're going to add things as it says. It wants 480 grams of white sugar. I don't own white sugar. I do have raw sugar, and that will work. So we want 480. We have gone over, but that is fine. As said, near enough is good enough. Then we're going to add some lemon juice. It wants 300 grams. 300 grams of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I just squeezed a few lemons. Let's see how much we've got here. Going to need a little bit more than that. All right, 300-ish of lemon juice. We want 240 grams of butter, which I'm going to need more because these are only 227 gram sticks. All right, we got 240 grams of butter, and then we want 6 eggs. All right, 6 eggs. Next, we need to put the lid on and then run thicken mode for 10 minutes, and that will be done. While that's going, I will put my mic on charge and I will clean up. All right, it's getting really late and I'm getting really just tired and over it. Curd is done, so I'm going to transfer that into some jars to go in the fridge for the moment, and the candied slices are finished as well. So I'm going to gently pull them out and place them on the tray to set. Now, if you wanted them perfect without any drips of sugar syrup and stuff, you'd need to put them on a rack rather than just flat on a tray, but I'm not worried. So I'm just going to place them directly on this, and I will probably stick them straight in the freezer. You're supposed to sort of let them set a bit first, but with our environment and the flies and stuff, I probably will just stick them straight in the freezer to make it easier. And then I'm just going to put the syrup in a jar as well, and I will use that for something in the near future, or can it or freeze it or something. I don't know yet. We'll see. My brain has stopped working for today. It's hit its limit. And I probably cut these a little thin, actually. I didn't think I did because I was cutting by hand, and they suggest, like, you know, using a mandolin or something, but they haven't held their shape very well. Not that it matters. So Just going to get them all on the tray. I might leave them out with one of the nets over them for a couple of hours while we do dinner and stuff, and then, as I said, I'll stick them in the freezer. So Kavik's looking forward to trying them. We've got these nets, so I'm just going to put it out of the way, put a net over it, let it sit and cool and set, and then we'll freeze it. And Kavik's going to find me a jar for this syrup to go into. Now this will be quite a tart lemon syrup because it's got slight bitter notes because it had the pith in it as well. So I just have to be aware of that when I use it. It's sort of a bitter, slightly sweet lemon sort of a syrup. It's an odd one, but we will find something to use this for. I'll think of something. Anyway, I'll put it in a jar for the moment so that I've got the opportunity to think of something. My camera's almost flat as well. So was there anything else that I needed to do right this minute? I don't think so. I think that's it for the moment. We've got our preserved lemons. We have our chili oil has done. We have the lemon curd. We have we got the candied lemons, the lemon peel that I'm just going to throw in the freezer as is. This is that really thin shaved lemon peel. I still have a dozen lemons that I've got to do something with, but that's fine. Worst comes to worst, I cut them into wedges and I just put them in the freezer and they get used however they get used. Cordial's going, which I'll finish tomorrow. I think that's where I'm going to leave it today, and I'll probably have to finish this up tomorrow. I don't know how long this will end up being though, but I probably need to show you the end of the cordial as well on the end of this video, so we will see. But I'm going to leave it there. I've got chicken wings out for dinner tonight, so I'm going to cut all them up, get them in the oven, and have a nice easy dinner. The limoncello, I haven't added the vodka to yet. I need to do that as well, so we're getting there, but I'm going to finish up for today. Alrighty, next day. So the fruit has been steeping. We're going to strain it. I've just asked Darryl to come out and give me a hand because it's always hard to juggle the big pot as well as getting it through the strainer into something else. And he requested pizza for dinner, so I've made pizza dough. We've had some, though he shouldn't be eating pizza, no, but he requested pizza dough. So I made it, and we've had lunch, and I'm just going to get this sorted so that I can get it cooked down and canned for the kids. Other than that, I am going to mix up the lemon curd ice cream, and I'm hoping to make some, I don't know whether I'll do it today, it might just stop there with that, but I'm going to make some ginger snap style biscuits because ginger snap style biscuits with lemon curd ice cream is like ice cream sandwiches. Sounds really good. But other than that, I think that's all I'm going to get done today. It's just this cordial finished, the lemon curd ice cream mixed up and stuck in the freezer, and that's about it. So we're going to get this strained up first. All right, I got this nice fine colander, which is good for, the more you agitate this, the more pulp you're going to get in the cordial. Can restrain it through cheesecloth if you want. It just really depends on what you want. But if you just put it in, keep it as strained as possible, and you don't shake it before you use it, you don't get the pulp. But realistically, I don't have a problem with the pulp. Darryl's not a fan of it, though he has gotten better about it over the years. But initially, when I first started making cordials, it was something that he really didn't like, was those bits of strawberry seeds and bits of pulp and stuff through it. But everyone else has sort of gotten used to it, and it's not that big a deal. No, I said that you got better about it now, but you didn't, originally you really didn't like it. So we're just going to strain it. Hopefully this pot's big enough to get all the liquid in. If not, then we'll figure it out. But we're just going to pour it all through, and then I'm going to add the sugar and lemon juice and stuff to it, citric acid, to make sure that it is safe to can. What we're doing is we're putting the pulp, we've got a gum leaf, lucky we're cooking this again. We put the pulp in the colander and let the main liquid drain, and then over another bowl I'm pushing the pulp to get as much liquid as possible out of it, but also means that we're going to be getting some solids. And then I discard the rest of the pulp in a bowl that will go to the animals, and we will restrain what's in this bowl. So letting the initial letting the initial juice come out the bottom, then pushing some of the pulp and excess liquid through, and then discarding. So long-winded process, but considering all this fruit would be thrown out otherwise, it's worthwhile doing. No, this is all scraps. All right, so we've strained it all. I don't know exactly what... I put 4 litres of water in there, and that would have reduced a little bit, but it would have gained some with the fruit as well. Now, a cordial that you find a recipe for online is a 1-to-1 of the fruit to sugar, and we don't ever do it that sweet, and it's not necessary for safety purposes. So this is going to be 4+ litres of liquid. The hopes is to potentially use this in the slushy machine as well, so I'm going to make it even a little bit sweeter than I normally would. I have a 2 kilo bag of sugar, so we're talking 1 to 2, 1 to 3 sugar to liquid, and we're going to give that a go. I'm going to put that in first. I'm going to let it dissolve. I don't want it to simmer or anything. I just want the sugar to dissolve. Once that's done, I'm going to add the juice of a lemon and probably a tablespoon of citric acid and tartaric acid. Tartaric acid stops it from fermenting on the shelf. The citric acid keeps it safe for canning purposes. And then we'll taste it, and if it needs a bit more sugar, I will add it then. So for the moment, I'm just going to add a full 2 kilo bag to this, or what I managed to not spill on the floor. And I'm just going to turn the heat on low and stir that through while I clean up around what I just made a mess of. All the sugar is dissolved, so now we're just going to leave it on a simmer just until we get the temperature right up to make sure it's dissolved fully, because we don't want any crystallizing sugar in this at all. But just adding that sugar has given it this beautiful color. So that's partly why, like when I do pureed fruit in jars and stuff, I always add just a teaspoon of sugar just to help with the color and that sort of thing. But we are going to add some lemon juice, which will also help with the color, some citric acid and tartaric, as I said. So I'm just going to get this a little bit warmer, and then we'll add those. In the meantime, the pizza dough is well and truly proofed in this warm day, so I need to get this out and shaped and in the fridge before dinner tonight, because this is already a bit overdone because it's just that warm here at the moment. So I'm just going to do this, get this in the fridge for dinner tonight as well, and then I'll bring you back when I'm adding the stuff to the cordial. Alrighty, so we're just going to squeeze a lemon over. So we got some fresh lemon juice, freshly washed hands. I'm just catching the seeds. We're going to add about a tablespoon of citric and half of that of tartaric. And we're just going to dissolve all of that, and then we will taste it, and then it'll be ready to go into jars. All right, all the sugar is dissolved. We've got citric acid, we've got lemon juice, we've got tartaric acid. Now we're going to put it in jars. I've tasted it. It tastes plenty sweet enough. It's not always a good judge at this point, and it still ended up fairly thin, but that just means that, like, if you're making soda stream or whatever with it, you add it as a quantity of like cordial, not syrup. But if I do want to use this for like the slushy machine, if I manage to get it and things like that, I'll just have to take that into account for the quantities that are required. You do need a certain amount of sugar in those machines to work anyway, so you have to have a fairly high ratio of sugar to allow the ice to slushy without going solid. So we'll figure that out if and when we manage to do that. So I've got my thing on the Kmart site telling me when one potentially comes back into stock, and we'll see if we can snag a couple. Someone suggested using my Flybuys points to buy them for Christmas, which is a great idea. So we will see. But in the meantime, this will be used with SodaStream and stuff regardless. And it smells wonderful, and it's got a great colour. So I'm going to put it in these muddy jars. This is my choice of jar for cordial because it's got a nice narrow mouth for pouring from. I don't bother taking the labels off my jars, can them a couple of times, and the labels fall off. It's really not a big deal for me, but I always say I'm too lazy to do it, and then I get upped in the comments that lazy isn't a word I should use, but it's true. I couldn't be bothered putting them in a sink with soapy water and scrubbing them off when I can them a couple of times and they just come off. So I don't know exactly how much liquid I've got here, so I've got 6 of these jars out at the moment. I will find more if I need to. I don't appear to have any new lids for these jars. I've only got the ones that have already been used, which is fine for Cordial because it doesn't sit on the shelf for very long. Cordial like this will be used this summer, generally speaking, so I'm not overly concerned. And Cordial to a degree doesn't even really need to be processed. There's enough citric acid and stuff in it that it should be fine, but we process it just to give it more longevity and safety. But it does mean that if the lids don't seal very well, sometimes you're all good. The kids did open one the other day though, and one of the kids complained that it tasted funny and it had fermented slightly. So in our temperatures that happens as well. So worst comes to worst, they don't seal properly, I'll stick them in the fridge for a bit and reprocess them if needed. I need to order some more lids, that's all for these jars. They're an odd size lid, I think it's 48 ml. So they're not one that I always have, but I really like these jars for Cordial. I just haven't been making Cordial much. I used to make it a couple of times every year with all the excess fruit, and I don't think I made it much last year at all. So, don't know, we've still got some on the shelf, so maybe I just didn't feel like it was worth the effort and time at that point because there was some on the shelf. I don't know, but we will use this slot anyway, and we'll see what other fruit we get next trip and go from there. So I'm just going to fill all these jars, do the normal vinegar around the top, and then I will steam can these. Now these jars do not fit in the standard steam canner. They are too tall, but I can just steam can them in the pressure canner like I did with the pizza sauce. So that is the plan. So I will do that. Right, so I ended up with 3, 6, 9, 10 bottles. Hopefully this will fit in one layer of the canner, otherwise we'll just have one in the fridge to try now. And I do have a little bit left over, so I might make a soda stream up to try that now. But all I'm doing is running some vinegar around the rims. It shouldn't be an issue because I used a funnel and a jug, and I had just washed all these jars, but you never know. So, and then we're just going to place lids on. Again, I'm just going to run some vinegar on the inside of these lids. Make sure that they're clean because they are ones that have been used and re-washed. So I'm just checking that they look good before I use them and that they're nice and clean. I don't reuse lids in a lot of things because I just don't find it's worth the, like you know, you go to that much effort to can something, and then if it fails because a lid just isn't quite perfect, I just don't find that time efficient. But for Cordial it's not really that big a deal. I will have to order some more of these lids though, because I do like to use these Moody jars. I buy them because I like the passata, but it is slightly more expensive than your average, you know, home brand passata, and part of the reason that I spend that little bit extra is for the jars, because I reuse these jars for anything that's sort of liquid like this. So lug lid jars, we're going to put them on nice and tight, and then I'm going to warm up some water in the canner, and we're going to steam can these and hopefully fit all of them in. And then I will make up, hey, this one still has paint mark on it from whatever Cordial it was last time, lime by the looks of it. So we will just do this, and then I'll get the canner sorted and I'll make some soda stream up and I'll show it to you. I'm just waiting for that water to warm up in the canner, because warm jars, warm water in the canners, otherwise you get some thermal shock. So I've just carbonated some water. Now with homemade cordials especially, you really want it to hit the side of the jar, not directly into the jar, because otherwise it just froths everywhere. And then we're going to gently mix it through. Ice. And so we've got pink tinted soft drink. Lovely. Now, the homemade cordials aren't as strong or as sweet as the store-bought cordial. They're definitely more of a, we can tell just by the colour, definitely more of a flavoured mineral water almost, or a flavoured soda water. but there's more than enough flavour in that to compensate for the soda water flavour. Though if you're really into super sweet soft drinks, it might not work, but I find it really refreshing like that, and the kids are happy to drink it like that, and they can drink it as cordial, which they would put more in. It probably should have been cooked down longer. It ended up a little bit thin, but honestly I'm tired and over it, and so I could have reduced it a bit more, use less jars, or we just use a bit more of it when we're making it, and that's fine. So I'm just going to can these, and then they're ready for the shelf. All right, so last thing for the day before I turn the camera off and finish up, we're going to do lemon curd ice cream. I'm going to go really simple. So this is lemon curd from yesterday. It is just absolutely fantastic. And I've got some lemon sugar-free jello. So I'm going to do super simple, no cook, bright and lemony ice cream mix. So let me grab some cream. Let's start with 2 and see how we go. We're going to put 100 grams of cream. The scales could do with a clean, but I'm not putting food on it at the moment, so it's not a huge issue. So we're going to start with 100 grams of cream. And we're going to start with 200 grams of water. So we're going to bring this up to 300 grams of liquid. Like that. Alright. Now we're going to put 7 grams of the pudding in there. So 1 serve of the pudding. These cost around about $5 each, and there's 4 serves of pudding mix in them. They are not cheap, but when you think about the cost of sugar-free or higher protein ice cream, if that's what you're going for, they're not that expensive either. All right, and then we're going to put 100 grams of 150 maybe. I'm just going to take this up to, there we go. You need to use that. And the Ninja Creamy recipes, the no bake recipes, always have a bit of cream cheese in them, and I'm curious because lemon curd cheesecake ice cream sounds really good, so I thought this was a good one to trial the cream cheese in. So they all have like 22 grams of cream cheese, so I'm just going to put a dollop because I've got one open here. So I'm just going to put like a dollop, which ended up being about 40 grams. So we've got all that lemon flavour, the cream, bit of cream cheese. I think this is going to be really nice. We will see, but I think it's going to be really nice. So I'm going to have to grab my blender out for that one. But let's mix up the second one first so that we can just get this cleaned up. Same again. Now, honestly, I'm not sure if this is going to be sweet enough. Like the lemon curd is sweetened. The sugar-free jello is sweetened, but it's only a small amount. Cream has its own inherent sweetness. Cream cheese has its own inherent sweetness. So we're just going to go with it, and it should be fine. All right, so that's what we're going to do, and I'm just going to blend them up, get them in the freezer, and I'll try and remember to show you when I mix it up, but it won't be till another video because it's going to be at least 24 hours in the freezer. All right, so that's it for this video. So the jars are just finished. I've turned them off. They're too hot to get out of the canner yet. They need to rest a little bit, and I'm going to mount the canner, and then they can go on the shelf. So we've got the cordial made, which is using up all those, and so it was 10 jars of like 700 ml, so about 7 litres of cordial, and it cost me basically the sugar because the pips of the mangoes and the tops of the strawberries and stuff were things that would otherwise be thrown away. So it cost me the, what, $3.20, $4 worth of sugar to make all of that. So it's, you know, and a bit of time and effort. I think it's worthwhile. It definitely is a little mild. I've been drinking it. It definitely is a little mild. It definitely could have been cooked down a little bit, I think, a bit more syrupy. But it is perfectly drinkable, and we will use it in a variety of things, even if it is used to cook down for a sauce at some point or something. It is done and on the shelf, stable, so that I can use it at another time. I've got that lemon curd ice cream done up. I will attempt to make those some sort of like soft ginger biscuits to have that with at some point, and I'll show you when I do that. And I still want to make some like lemon curd rolls or donuts or something with some of it, because I really love lemon curd. It's one of my favorite things, and so I want to do that. But the storm is coming over now. It's gone really dark and gross, and so for the moment I'm just cleaning up because this kitchen roof leaks. So I don't want to be stuck out here trying to finish anything off once it's full on raining, and it's supposed to be a thunderstorm too, so we will see what we get. This video will probably come out after, so today is Saturday. This video probably won't come out until mid next week, and my Sunday video, which I'll film tomorrow, will come up beforehand. But I'm going to try and do a bit of a Sunday squirrel with a day in the life type thing tomorrow, so we'll see how we go with that. Get that out, and then get this one out as well later in the week, and then we will see where we go from there. I'm still just figuring stuff out as we go, as always. I always appreciate the new viewers that come in from the shopping videos, but I only shop once every 6 weeks, so it's what to do to try and keep the channel chugging along in between those grocery shops that seem to attract this huge audience. But you know, I'm tired. My face has been having a pretty significant pain day, and it's wearing. I think the atmospheric pressure doesn't help any. So the eye droops and the pain in my face and stuff is just, but things needed to be done, so I got them done, and that's the main thing. And now I'm going to go in, and I'm still printing toilet rolls off all day, so I'm in and out to the printers as well doing that. So now I'm going to go in and do some admin. I don't need to edit tonight, so it'll be nice to have a bit of a downtime. I might pull my iPad out and do some drawing. But yeah, so I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for joining me again. I really appreciate it, and see you on the next one.